Okay, so can you explain to me what it's like being in a mature relationship that you're in with your partner, Ben?
Yeah. Um, yeah, and I guess for me, so I was similar. I know we've talked about this, but I also my boys, with my boy's father, I was also with him from pretty much 16, nearly for 20 years, and then straight out of that and a relationship with Ben. And now me and Ben have been together actually for 9 years. So I've never really had a period of my life out of a relationship that's that I can even remember because only childhood. And um, but there's definitely I don't know because I think just the phase that I'm at now and the maturity that I'm at, and I don't know if it's age or it's just, I don't think it's age actually because you're extremely mature for your age. But at my stage, at 40, like I'm 44 now, I don't even like that's I find that I have the main gene key of freedom. And when we look at that gene key, it's a very interesting part of freedom actually, because that gene key itself, 55, programs with the 59, which is the gene key of intimacy. And in and one line that he even says in the two programming partners coming together is the most freedom you'll find is in your intimate relationships where you'll learn to trust the other as much as you trust yourself. I find that freedom in a context of what we're thinking on the superficial layer sometimes means like free from feeling like you're committed or free from anything, free from committing to anything. And then when you find yourself as a mom and you're completely devoted to your children and committed to everything um and then also in a relationship where you there's a level of commitment um in some ways to the immature way it might seem that that's not free
Hmm.
and you're sort of obliged. But I think the true level of freedom that that gene key moves with intimacy with is that where there's you're free from this point that there's absolutely nothing to hide from yourself or any other. So
Hmm.
we get to this point in the relationship where we're not even masking our shadows or trying to hide our shadows or indulge our shadows without in a reactive or repressive way without it being even known that that's what we're doing. So we're coming from like this immature reaction to things in a relationship to cause more um, passion or something. And yeah, so there's this level of when you truly meet another that you can um, be so transparent with that you're free from everything in a way. It's like
Yeah.
there's nothing to hide from yourself or from the other. And yeah, and so like it's like really the analogy that you're just standing there naked with nothing to hide from each other. And that's a massive level of freedom, even though there's a devotion there.
Yep. Right. So you're saying that freedom and devotion are not mutually exclusive. It's not that being in a committed relationship and a devoted relationship is opposite of freedom, but rather that they go together. Like to be in devotion is to feel free. Whereas I think what I've definitely experienced in my life, um, and I'm sort of trying to mature from is like I grew up in a generation where it's all about what can I get from everything in my life? How much can I get from my work with in terms of financial compensation? How
Mm.
much can I get from a romantic relationship in terms of the reward, if some kind of benefit? Because I'm paying for this with my freedom. I'm giving it my time, my devotion. It means I can't do other things with my time. I can't work a different job. I can't be with a different man. And so it's like I better get rewarded for this cost of my freedom. Whereas what you're saying is it's actually not like that at all. It's an illusion to think
Yeah.
we give our freedom away when we commit to something, when we live in devotion to something.
Yeah, and actually Ben, my partner's gene key is devotion and 100%. So he's on the gene key that is actually, well, he's challenged gene key, the 29th gene key. His life's work's the 30th, which is rapture. But it's desire at the shadow and then rapture. But the 29th gene key, which programs with it, which is his biggest challenge, that one is half-heartedness through to devotion, and the path is commitment. And so with him, the same, and then I've got the freedom one, and but it's intimacy. And so with him also, um, I guess in his younger immaturity, he said he went into relationships half-hearted in that that gene key requires, even if it's 99% in, but you've still got one part of you going, I'm going to leave this part of myself to myself and hold back that one part. And Richard Rudd will say people with that gene key 29 somewhere important in their profile, they can't hold anything back. So when they're involved, like when they're committed into a relationship or any like a project at work or anything, if they hold even 1% back and give 99%, it won't work.
Yeah.
And I think between the two of us, no, Daisy. Sorry, I've got a puppy and she's in the tearing things apart phase right now.
Yeah.
She's trying to
Baby.
rip all my pillows apart.
Oh, yep.
Um, yeah, but I think definitely when I put the both of us together, yeah, the devotion, 100% commitment and devotion ends up triggering in me freedom. And same, it would
Wait,
with
wait,
you.
wait. We're saying 100% commitment and devotion from the two of you
Yeah.
ends up creating the possibility for free that you to feel freedom.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I think it's because when I think about our dynamic, like you I get to that point where I want him to go and experience the things that he loves, because I know that he's 100, the other part of him, like the part of him that's committed and devoted to me is 100% devoted to me.
Mhm.
And and so then when he's, off going and having an adventure or going somewhere, because there's that part of him that it needs to go on constant adventures, there's there's this freedom where when he's here or when he's not here, there's a freedom within me because there is a knowing of that underlying 100% devotion to each other and to the relationship. So
Right.
then he can reach his full potential in all these other experiences, because I know that he's sorry, I've got a puppy that is literally tearing my arms off. Oh, this is the most revved up she's been. No. And I had her in the little pen before when we were recording, and I thought, I better bring it down to play with me. She's actually crazy right now. Uh,
I
to
mean, I thought that you were talking quite well considering that was going on. I didn't even notice that she was going that crazy.
the Yeah, but yes, 100%. Daisy, no.
Yeah, right.
Okay, no.
Rupert, what do you think? Rupert, what wisdom do you have to share with us? Rupert
She's
makes
she's
deep
chilling
eye
out a little
contact.
bit more than Daisy. This
Oh,
is like
yeah.
Daisy.
Rupert goes, the only thing that matters in life is pleasure, eating, someone to annoy, try to ask for food. And I am happy to cleanse your house and your energy by just going around all the rooms and walking in a few circles for you as compensation for you feeding me. So I'm willing to do that. But also, if I don't feel like you're patting me in a certain spot, I will absolutely protect my own energy field and swipe at you.
Oh gosh, next time we record, I'm not bringing her into the caravan. That's a no. That you just gone.
However, she is making me feel like I want to go and visit her and you because I just feel like I have to have a cuddle now that I've seen her play like that and she's
Oh,
tiny and adorable.
she's so cute. She's very cute, but this is the most wild she's been all morning. So this
You
is her.
know, that thing that you just said is so groundbreaking. Like that thing about people who have 29th gene key in a prominent position in their chart have to know this about devotion. If you're 99% devoted and you're holding something back, it's not, you're going to experience annoyances and blockages and obstacles and annoying things keep happening because the universe has to stamp out that 1% and take you to 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's like the universe knows the commitment that that you're willing to be like a commitment, like committed to that expression for the universe to move through you in that way, and then it'll give you that full experience. But if you hold even 1% of you back, you can't lie, you're holding it back from your partner or you're holding it back from your project, but really you're lying to yourself, and so therefore you're lying to your expression as a soul, as a expression of divinity, and so you're going to be holding that experience back from yourself, really.
mm,
And people feel it. Like I'm sure, I always say this to Ben, if we were together since early on, I don't know how we would have worked in that way, because um, I feel like I would know when he's holding, and I'm sure his ex-wife did too, actually. But you would know when someone's holding, someone that has that jinky, you would know when they're holding a part of themselves back from you anyway, even if they think they're hiding, like they're pretending they're
oh.
in.
So
And
do
yeah,
you both have the 29th in a prominent position?
no, but so that was what I was sort of trying to explain without trying to go too far into how composite and synastry astrology work. But with composite astrology, so synastry astrology, for people that are not sure, so synastry is where you put one person's birth chart and then the other person's birth chart around it, and you look at the relationship of the planets. So two people's birth chart stays as is, but you put them around the circle of each other and you look at the relationships that planets are making to each other and what that means. Whereas composite chart is where you put your both birth details in to astrology program, and it sets and it throws out the midpoint, which is a separate chart altogether. And that's like, it's sort of like the baby of the relationship. It's what you create together. And so when people say, the grass isn't greener with a new partner, if a person hasn't healed their own traumas, then they're going to create the same cycles and patterns with a new partner. And that component is always true, because the person needs to heal the shadow aspects of themselves. Otherwise, they'll keep re-experiencing the same patterns because they haven't learnt from themselves. But there's also the aspect that you will create a different relationship with a different partner because you create a different blueprint in your composite. And so you can create a completely different energy with someone that you can create with someone else. Um and so we've Ben and I in our composite, we're prominent in our composite chart, that
Yeah.
devotion.
Okay, so he's got
Yeah.
it in his own, and then you've got it in your prominent in a composite chart, and you don't have it in your single chart.
I don't have it in mine.
Okay.
No, I've got the freedom, but I feel like it emanates probably because we have it in our composite, and also just because whatever the shadows are for the person you're in relationship with, they'll trigger your own shadows anyway. And so if he's in the shadow of half-heartedness, and then it will trigger my victim of
Uh,
my main G key. Instead of feeling free,
hmm.
it'll trigger more of my victim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Whereas when he's 100% in devotion, it actually triggers freedom for me. And he would experience that freedom as well, because
Mm.
being true to himself and to the universe,
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
actually am pretty sure I've got the 29th.
Yeah, I think you do actually. I'm pretty sure you do.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is about the point, if people have watching haven't already, that you go look at your chart. If you have a feeling you've got the 29th, go look at your chart and make sure. And you look yourself hard in the mirror and go, I will not be half-hearted in my
Yeah.
relationships.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she's in hers. She her gene key's the third gene key. She's first degree Taurus. Hers is playfulness, and it's play. No work, just play. It's like
Oh
innocent.
my gosh, that is so
She's
great.
definitely in that at the moment.
That is so
As all
great.
puppies are, but
You're gonna get so much exercise.
I feel there's lots of wisdom in all of them to be expressed in different aspects of our lives and our lives as parents and partners. And hey,
Yeah.
no.
It's interesting actually this that you say this because as you were saying it, I was thinking, wow, like I didn't have those words for it as I was moving through it. But in my first marriage, which is now over, um, I felt this feeling of I knew that there were certain things that were really hard and were sort of not working and were toxic and stuff. But at the same time, I just had this feeling, and I thought maybe it's my conditioning growing up in a religious organization, whatever you want to call it, church, that promoted focusing on yourself as an individual and your role to play in a dynamic
Mhm.
and always thinking, what more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do? Um, Even if you're really hurt or even being abused, what more can I do? I thought maybe that is from my conditioning, but I just still felt like my intuition was always telling me to stay and to put more devotion in, more commitment, more love, more unconditional love. And there were points where I'd be there crying after a fight in the middle of the night, just for hours, sort of talking to God or the empty space around me, just going, is it right to leave? And I didn't even have to finish the sentence because I just had this feeling filling the room all the time of no. Like for years, it was always the same. The answer never changed. It was always no. It was always not like your work here is about learning how to lean in further and further and further to meet somebody in all the facets of who they are without running away. And
Yeah,
so for me, I think that's what I needed to do in that relationship at that time. And of course, um, I, I suppose we'll never understand fully what happened, but what I felt, because I just always followed my intuition. When I
mm,
asked, that was the answer that came was, no, you need to learn more. This is still your training ground. This is still a school of love, a school of life, and you need to learn more. In the end, that changed as I was growing and I was feeling like I was learning the lessons of that relationship. That tether to that feeling of you've got to pour in more, that tether was changing. It was shifting. And I wasn't so much feeling that response when I would ask what I should do.
yeah,
And people from the church will probably think that's the devil. That's the devil talking to you, saying that you don't have to stay in your marriage. But I really felt my intuition was saying, at the end of it, said, this is no longer your path. And that's to do with some pretty severe and extreme elements of the dynamic that were not serving me, the relationship, or the other person. And that the best thing I could do for that person, for myself, for the dynamic was to no longer allow and enable the dynamic to continue that way.
yeah,
And it sounds like, twisting reality and making a justification, but I honestly believe that our relationship got better from me separating.
yeah,
And it's something that he and I discussed many times afterwards and both agreed, yeah, that relationship did need to die. We had differing opinions on what should follow, what should come over the next few years, but one thing we did agree was that relationship needed to die for his growth, um, and and also for me.
yeah,
Both really needed that. But I feel like the moment that I felt that shift in the timelines, my timeline and my future just opening up to a whole different reality,
mm,
that was actually in the following a moment of pinnacle devotion. It was when I was feeling I'm going all in into devoting to even parts of this that I find the darkest. I'm choosing this. And
mm,
following that is actually when there was this like grrr, clunk, and it was like machinery moving into place, and I just felt the whole future changing.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I'm so much a student of it, and I have no idea really what is the truth, what happened, what is all this stuff about relationships.
In the Venus sequence, like I was saying to you before we press record, in the Venus sequence, which was Richard Rudd's, that was his prized work. That was the work that he didn't have to get out any of the other courses. And like I was saying, because he's not an astrologer, he wasn't looking at how I do, which is like you need every single placement that's in your birth chart to be in the hologenetic profile for the gene keys. He wasn't looking at it like that. He was looking at it as in that the Venus sequence, which is your 7-year cycles, including the imprinting in the womb and then your childhood 7-year cycles, and how that wounding of um, like development in the ideal world, if we were given the most flawless um traumaless state, which no one is, and that's the beauty of no one is, like there's not someone, otherwise they wouldn't need to incarnate in the first place. But if we were given like a flawless 7-year cycles of development and we loved ourselves that much. But yeah, the Venus sequence is to go back and give ourselves that flawless love. And when
Mm.
he even talks about relationships, though, because it's our biggest opportunity to, um, people can go through the Venus sequence that are single and then they just treat the partner as themselves and they're 100% committed to the devotion of self-love. But if you walk through the Venus sequence and you have a relationship, you're learning what you would give yourself in your ideal relationship to love yourself at that extent. But he will even say, stick with it until both parties feel that the leaning out is more necessary. Um, that didn't, unless there's abuse. Like if there's abuse, then it's not healthy. It's actually, yeah, like in a traumatic abusive relationship, obviously that's not healthy for anyone. Otherwise, there's a lot of growth that can happen there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. Yeah, and I think the tricky thing for a lot of people is what does it mean to end a relationship and to lean out? What does it mean to take a break? And what does it mean to be safe?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't feel safer when they leave an abusive relationship. And
Yeah.
so they feel like, okay, I want to be a good feminist, or I want to be a good I want to be a smart person. I want to be an evolved, conscious, aware person. And so I won't disrespect myself and make myself unsafe. So I'll leave this situation or whatever. But actually what they're faced with is an even worse
Mm.
situation. Like maybe they have kids, a single mom, but like the situation they have to walk into next makes both the woman and her children feel even less safe than in
Yeah.
the abusive relationship. And
Yeah.
so the definition of safety, first of all, is really tricky. And then also, um, because people evolve and change, and especially when there are children involved, but even when there aren't, people want to make the original relationship work if they can. And so sometimes they give another partner time to change and then give them a second chance. And they think, oh, that's the best thing I can do is it's really good to give someone a second chance. And then, yeah, so it's the blurry lines of is it right to leave an abusive relationship, or should it be done for a short amount of time and then try to go back and stuff like that? Yeah, I feel like it's such a complex landscape, and so many people have opinions on it, especially people who haven't been through it themselves.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and yeah. And I think all that we can really do is keep trying our best, and listening to our intuition and enhancing our intuition and like following things, setting up a framework in our lives where our intuition can more easily speak to us
Mm. Yeah.
and become louder all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I might have to go because this girl is going nuts. And next time we record, I'm not bringing her down into the caravan when she's at this phase of her day, which is wild, wild. Daisy,
Well, it was lovely to be introduced to you, Daisy. And Rupert's here just making funny noises and licking himself. Rupert, Rupert, say
Look,
goodbye.
see, look at Rupert. Rupert's chilling. Not like you.
He's just a pairing machine the whole time. Um, but yeah, I thank you so much for chatting with me. That was a fascinating conversation, and I learnt already, you know, things that I'm immediately going to go and have a good think about my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's the same as the birthing. It's there's infinite ways to bring in a soul and there's infinite ways to bring in a relationship, and we just learn from life, don't we?
Hmm.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, maybe this podcast we could title something to do with the theme of being around devotion and Jinky 29.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so yeah.
Yeah. We can explore heaps. Yeah, we can explore lots of them.
Any final thoughts or a mantra that you're going to be using for the rest of the day?
Oh, I can't think of something right now when my hand's getting bitten, but we're both just very lo we just both feel very loved, don't we, Dace?
I mean, yeah, that's the best thing. Love, connection, play. It's like you've figured out the keys to life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me, and we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.